Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Kol Loyam Adonai Yahweh, Bashem Shamalak Yahushai, Bashem Rakadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders, great millstone, peace citations, Tophet, scattered across the four corners of the earth. Shalom. And the title, Lord willing, I'll come up with the title of the video. But right now, this shit is crazy. Like, the stuff that you're seeing nowadays, and the shit that's going on now. And ever since, COVID-19, you have, like, the scamming shit has been soaring over time because it skyrocketed, like, the amount of scamming that's been going around. And, this country is mainly famous for scamming, You got people trying to call you acting like an East Indian, saying that you got suspicious activity on your phone, claiming that they work for the law enforcement and they suspected of you having suspicious activity, and tell them write their badge number down. And then you got niggas on Facebook or other social media platforms that try to do that, scamming, where they could try to flip your money and shit like that, acting like they could do that money flip, like you just giving them $50 or 20, or and they flip it to double the amount or triple. Yeah, they've been, niggas been doing scamming shit for a minute, but with the unemployment shit, that's the new scam now that they be doing, trying to file for unemployment and shit. And then another thing too, when they ask for your identity, like your ID and all that other shit, they try to open up bank accounts. They try to do everything else with your information. That's what they try to do. So when you see them with the nice clothes and shit that they either got from their parents or somebody in their family, like some relative, or they got the money from working, or maybe even both, they would try to do that scam and shit, saying that, all I need is a credit card, give me get that and your information to take out a loan. They're not going to tell you all that, but they're going to be like, once they got this, they need this and that and that and this, this, that, the third. That's what they need, and they trying to scam you and shit. So right here, what you see now is, well, as they said, 2 million COVID morons, right? And the funny thing is, I know one of them, and that's the one with the blue do-rag. His name is Carlos Vasquez. He went to my high school and everything, bro. On God, this shit is real judgment. Because the funny thing was, he was trying to get, in that other video when I mentioned about you should not defraud thy neighbor, I mentioned it somewhere in the video that this was a scam and shit that he was trying to do. He was literally trying to get my Chase Bank card, right? Because he told me that he need my debit card to help me get money. I'm like, all right. So I gave him a debit card. Mind you, I didn't have that much money on it anyway. So, and I thought like I was safe in general because I had the PIN code for it. So I'm pretty sure I didn't give him the PIN code. But sometimes they could swipe it for certain stores like Dunkin' Donuts and maybe at certain delis and probably certain retail stores as well. Because most of the part they like to chip. They do that chip shit a lot. And the new shit like TD Bank got is as well as some other bank companies, they got that card where you do the wave, where you do the contactless payment. So yeah, that's how they use the cards and shit nowadays. And then the fact that he told me that he was gonna get me money, he lied to me, honestly. Well, he was gonna get me money, but he's not gonna tell me in a deceitful way. He's gonna tell me that like, he's just needs my information, basically. Like, I need your address, social security. Like, he basically just stated everything that he needed. And I was like, I don't give my SSN, man. I don't want to do this. Because I didn't give like all the other information and shit that he was asking for. So, because I thought he was gonna do it without that type of information, but he said that's what he needed. And one of my friends was even telling me not to open up and shit. He was telling me not to do the scam and shit. And then little do you know, I asked him like, I said, all right, so do you really think I shouldn't do this? Like, just to make it final. And he telling me, oh, you know, it's up to you. At the end of the day, uh, you do what you want. You feel me? And you need to start having people to tell you. So I'm gonna let you, you know, do you. He's stupid for saying like that because I said, because I was trying to ask him, like, would you do it? I mean, and shit like that. I was gonna ask him, like, deep information, stuff like that. He should just say, like, if you feel like you didn't want me to tell him that, oh, I don't want to do it because he said so, then I'll keep your name out of it, period. But, yeah. But he gave me back the card, that nigga, because he gave it back to me in a few days because he said he'll give it back. And the card was still active, so that he just charged me $5 for a Dunkin' Donut shit. And then he claimed that he don't know what I'm talking about when I asked him. And then my friend kind of pressed him and talked to him about it, like, in a sympathetic way. Like, yo, come on, man, you did this and that to his account. And that was the same friend that I had that he thought he could trust him like that. When, like, but eventually I got to Chase Bank to deal with the situation and shit, so it was whatever. Nigga asked me if I got the money back and shit. I said, yeah. And, try to act like he was cool with me. I'm like, nah, nigga, fuck you, low-key. And it's crazy because, I saw him making bands off of, like, scamming niggas. Like, he literally had his own car. He'd be at tellies and shit. You know how these niggas be moving, bro. Spanish niggas, you got Jake from the Southern and another kingdom, basically, like, scamming and shit. Sometimes if they, trapping like that, they will do that type of shit. I don't know if he sell drugs. But I mean, he be around niggas that do, so. But I know he heavy on that credit card scamming and shit. Yeah. And pretty much, like, he was known for having, like, I guess the most money in the school. At the time he was like a junior or senior. Yeah. Even when he was like a sophomore, he was really like making like, like bank. Like, yeah. And so yeah, I'm gonna go into the article. Yeah, like a lot of people laughing at that shit. So let's just go into this article right here. And it says 8 NYC men ran 2 million COVID unemployment fraud scheme and some posed with stolen cash. Feds. And I read this, bro. I'm not gonna hold you, bro. I read this whole shit like when I just went in the train station, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. I saw like a couple hours ago. That was when I was in the train station. I kind of saw like the news of it, right, on the phone on Facebook, and I was like, oh, all right, let me just pass through. So like I looked closely in the train station. I was like, oh shit, these niggas really got booked for this, doing this shit. I was like, wow. And they said these online crooks were smart enough to game the unemployment compensation system for $2 million in cash, and some of them were dumb enough to pose with the ill-gotten loot on social media. The feds said Tuesday. Exactly, they're dumb, trying to be seen, and niggas do pose with cash and shit, and they try to be a little. The thing is that like, you're gonna be a little hot with it when you're doing shit like that at your crib. You're doing shit like that on your phone, because when you put your information on your phone, asshole, they could track your IP address. So yeah. So he's known for like basically taking people's personal information and basically making bank accounts out of that shit. And not only that, he could take pretty much like your credit card, debit card, all that other shit, ID. The niggas do that. That's how niggas in the hood be moving. You see them with the nice clothes and nice materials and shit, and you be like, damn, you rich. Like, nah, they just making money off of people's credit. Making money off of people, taking out loans and shit like that, off of money that niggas owe back. That's how they make their money. And they say suspects Brian Abraham, 18, Carlos Vasquez, 20. Yeah, time goes so fast because I remember that nigga when he was like a freshman. I'm dead ass. Went to my high school, which was pretty much in Sheepshead Bay, New Visions, in the charter high school that I went to for advanced math and science. Yeah, 3. Yep. And, all these other niggas' names. Johan Santos, 19. Gianni Stewart, 19. Andre Ruda, 25. And Seth Golden, 18. Got $600 weekly payments in the names of hundreds of people, authorities say. So this was hundreds of people they did this to. And then, the funny thing is, like, I remember Carlos' cousin, his cousin was, Daniel. I remember that nigga from My 11, his cousin. So they have the same last name, but they're cousins. That's what I heard. And Daniel was like, because I was talking about the scamming thing low key, saying how Carlos be doing that shit, and Dan's like, oh no, Quentin, no, don't do those stuff things, bro. The funny thing is, his cousin Carlos, like his cousin Daniel, like that nigga is low key. Like, it was like like he's like pretty much like the good one in that case. Like, he don't do that type of shit like that. He just will work for his money and shit like that. Go to school, do good. Carlos, I mean, yeah, he go to school and shit, but that nigga be scamming. And I highly doubt that he went to college, honestly. But that shit crazy. And it's like, I knew this nigga too. Seen him, spoke to him and everything, bro. Even dapped him up, a few times. And it's like, I don't really fuck with him deep because, first of all, we're not from the same hood, and I didn't really hang out with him after school. So, probably like around the cafeteria sometimes, but yeah, that nigga, bro, shit, he got booked now, and that's judgment from the Heavenly Father. And it says, 4 of the suspects, Vasquez, Cabrera, Stewart, and Golden, then posed with their Benjamins in online photos, which the feds distributed to the media Tuesday. 8 fraudsters filed their claims between June 2020 and April 2021, the feds said. The cash was either directly deposited in their bank accounts, sent as checks to their homes, or issued in debit cards made out in the names of the victims whose identities they'd stolen. Dumbasses. 6 of the 8 men were arrested in the federal sting Tuesday. All 6 were released on $75,000 bail bond after their initial appearances in Brooklyn federal court. 2 suspects, Miller and Santos, had not been arrested as of Tuesday afternoon. Armani Miller is pictured on security footage withdrawing cash from 2 ATMs at a Capital One bank on Ralph Ave in Flatlands, Brooklyn. One of the men charged in the scheme, Abraham, was arrested twice in 2020 in August and in September. The first time, Abraham had 8 debit cards listed in other people's names and $9,470 on his person. The second time, he had 14 cards in other people's names and more than $20K in cash, prosecutors said. Wow. More than 50 claims for unemployment for other people were made using Abraham's home address, according to a criminal complaint. Wow. These dumb niggas. They looking like they low-key gonna get caught doing this shit, and they kind of know. That's how it is. You doing some type of shit. Like, you doing some crazy shit right there. Those schemes don't get you that far, man. You gotta pay back for that. The Most High gonna make you pay. And it says his co-conspirator Vasquez was captured on surveillance footage on last July 31, making withdrawals from 2 different ATMs at the same time, prosecutors said. And in that instance, he withdrew more than $4K from 3 separate debit cards in others' names. On September 5th, 2020, Stuart Vasquez and unnamed co-conspirator were caught on camera in Queens making withdrawals from 37 different debit cards. They took out more than 26,000 from the ATMs, prosecutors said. Video surveillance of the men shows that attempted to withdraw money at Capital One banks in Queens using Key Bank's debit cards issued to people other than themselves, prosecutors said. Wow. So right here pretty much goes into basically what the other article was saying. I could read it quick. I'm gonna read certain parts. This is as alleged the defendants not only fraudulently obtained $2 million in pandemic-related unemployment benefits using information from the third-party victims, they audaciously displayed the proceeds of their fraud. Large amounts of stolen cash on social media stated acting United States Attorney Lesko. This office will not hesitate to bring the full weight of the law against defendants who would pocket public funds that are intended to alleviate the hardships of others. Mr. Lesko also expressed his grateful appreciation to the NYCPD for their assistance during the investigation. Fortunately, as the government rolled out various CARES Act programs, fraudsters were at the ready to take full advantage of these programs through a variety of fraud schemes, ripping off the American public of millions in taxpayer dollars and clogging the system for those who honestly are in need. These arrests are an example of commitment of law enforcement to bring those to justice for scamming the system, stated USPIS Inspector in Charge Bartlett. An important mission of the Office of Inspector General is to investigate allegations related to pandemic-related unemployment benefits. We will continue to work with our law enforcement partners to investigate these type of allegations, stated DOL OIG Acting Special Agent in Charge Splagunias. Wow. There's never an excuse to knowingly commit fraud and steal from a system that was designed to help New Yorkers in a time of need, stated NYS DOL Commissioner Reardon. However, it's more despicable when thieves steal a lifeline from New Yorkers in the midst of a public health pandemic. And of course, that shit was intentional what they did. So we have no tolerance for criminals, and if you break the law, you will be held accountable. I commend our partners in the U.S. Attorney Office and all levels of law enforcement for their commitment to helping U.S. fight unemployment insurance fraud. So they said ultimately the charges in the complaint are allegations and defendants are presumed innocent until proven guilty. The government's case is being handled by the Office's General Crime Section. Assistant United States Attorney Tara McGrath is in charge of the prosecution with assistance from Assistant United States Attorney Brendan G. King of the office's Assets Forfeiture Section. Them niggas gonna get booked. Cause honestly, bro, they're gonna probably do a long time in jail for such for such a crazy ass act as this. There's a whole crime right there. Yup. See, why you think you getting away with it? The Most High is still in control of everything. Yeah, these niggas really scam the system big time. 2 mil. Shit, man. Go from bands to mills. Like, see, there's people that be on social media. Some rappers, I'm not gonna lie, that's how some rappers came up. They had to do shit like this. Some of them, and you do got some rappers that pretty much like that be doing shit like that be in the hood still, yeah, it's crazy. I'm about to get into some scriptures now, so I don't want to make this video too long. The Lord knoweth how to deliver. 2 Peter chapter 2 verse 9. The Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptation and to reserve unjust until the day of judgment to be punished. This is the type of thing that a lot of people don't understand about the Heavenly Father. He is, out in the field with the judgment, He be in the field with it. And honestly, He's active when it comes to judgment. Judgment is always being issued. Somebody dying every day. Somebody getting injured every day. Somewhere around this earth. Somewhere in this country. Somewhere in this city. Somewhere out there, man. People suffering right now. And then it's like, I understand, like, the government got mad money and, so when it's coming to shit like this and the money is type fake, so, but the fact that, like, you go through lengths of trying to scam, like, people having their identities and shit like that, because, like, he low-key, like, they did it big time, like, of course the government gonna catch on to shit like that, like, when you scamming niggas out of, because you know how niggas do, they start from hundreds of dollars and they feel like they getting away with that. One thing with Jake is greedy when it's coming to the, when them sinning, they would start from scamming, like, yeah, they would start from tens to hundreds to thousands, and then the racks just keep getting bigger and bigger. The more they think they're gonna keep getting away with it, and the more they keep doing it. And it's like that saying that when I was watching Beyonce Get Straight one time, I remember this guy named it's crazy because his name was 6ix9ine even before the rapper came out, like, 6ix9ine, that he got famous and shit and started, like, going global on YouTube with that songs and shit. But this guy 6ix9ine in the prison and Beyonce Get Straight, and that episode where he got charged with double homicide, some tall brown skinned bald guy he was saying like all it takes is for well, before he said that, he said you could do whatever, get away with it mad times. All it takes is for you to get caught one time, and once you get caught, it's over. Yup. Especially if you a Jake, man. Once you a Jake and you get caught out there doing some crazy shit, whew, you're done. Like, it's done for your career, man. It's done for your future. And that's the Most High putting judgment on his own people because they just don't want to get right. They don't want to repent. Some niggas don't even try. They just don't want to do it at all. And it's crazy that, I knew the nigga too. And the crazy thing is, I just did a video a few days ago about that you should never defraud your neighbor. I just did a video a few days ago. Just did that shit a few days ago. That shit is crazy. And then next thing you know, I'm over here in the night going to the train station. While I was in the train station, I just looked on my phone through some, social media posts. And I was like, what? I said, wow. And I saw that shit. And I was like, wow. This shit is crazy. Nigga got charged with some big ass crime. See? That's how it is. Judgment happens anytime. And it says right here, 1 Peter 4:17, for time is come that judgment must begin at the house of Yahweh. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of Yahweh? So obviously, even when it starts with the Most High's people, mainly talking about, like, Jake. And you know how the system is so heavy against Jake. And even if you were Jake that looked like a heathen, they still charge you like a Jake. You may get like maybe a few years off or maybe just a little teeny bit of better treatment because, you don't look like a Jake. Like, you look like a heathen, Or you may be lighter skin, or you may be light skin or some shit. Because, tend to treat light skins better than dark skins and shit like that. Because not only that Esau is against Jake in general, especially starting with the Southern Kingdom, he's mostly he's also heavy against the what you call it, dark skins as well. And you'll mostly see a lot of dark skins in the Southern Kingdom usually. Yeah, you even see some in the Northern Kingdom as well, but yeah. So basically, this whole society is set up against Jake as a whole, starting from the Southern Kingdom to the Northern Kingdom. When it's come to depression and how bad it is. So if it first began at us, meaning whoever wrote the scriptures, those are the prophets that wrote the scriptures, right? So now, since they wrote the scriptures, right, and come back in the reincarnation, that whoever's meant to get the understanding, we get it, and obeying the gospel, and Lord willing, if we're part of the elect, yeah, for understanding this truth and being humble with it. We just hope to be part of the elect though. So now we understand the truth now, and then it's like the judgment is going to be heavy on us if we go off like doing some real crazy shit. That's how it is. And then it's like, for those that don't obey the gospel, for those that heard the words and didn't obey, the judgment is going to be, that's judgment is still going to be crazy on them. But honestly, you're better off not hearing his words and not coming to the understanding than for you to come in understanding and go right back into the world doing wicked shit. Yeah. And your judgment is either you being hospitalized, injured in the ICU, whatever form of injury in that hospital, or your ass is in jail, probably even both, jail and hospitalized, or maybe even in the grave, or hospitalized, then put in the grave, could be one of those scenarios, or maybe it could play out as both. Yeah. And it's like, as a thief, I even brought out, like when I did that video, do not defraud your neighbor, like your own people, talking about you shouldn't be stealing, period. Because not only the system is set up against Jake, well, not only that stealing from a Jake is wrong, when you steal from a heathen, your ass is treated worse than heathens, like when it's coming to like how the heathens treat each other. If they get charged with something, it's not going to be as bad as a Jake getting charged, especially if you're an Edomite. You'll get away with everything. Now if you're a Jake, especially for the Southern Kingdom, they go heavy on those charges, and they judge everything, your family income, the lawyer you have, the type of people I guess that raised you and shit like that, which is your family. They judge your family background, racial background, financial background, everything, bro. Your skin, your appearance, your accent and all that, and even the way you dress in the courtroom. So niggas know not to wear do-rags. So yeah, that's how it is. I don't even think you could wear that in the courtroom, period. But, and when I brought out the law about the thief in the Bible, they say you must give him back, I think it was sevenfold. You got to give him everything of his house, of your own house, to pay back a thief, to pay back as a victim of a thief. Yeah, that's how a thief pays back their victims. You have to give back everything that you owe. And well, the Most High, since the laws are not fully implemented, the Most High is still out in the fields sending judgment. Yep. And the next thing you know, you get caught up with some shit. He could have you in jail for so damn long for decades and shit, and you paying back for all the shit that you stole by giving your time. You may not be paying back the victims, but you're definitely paying for that judgment, though. See, judgment comes with a price. Sin comes with a price, and that price is you paying it with judgment. And when you see these scammers sometimes too, they be having thousands of dollars. I'm telling you, they spend that money on straight, bitches. Some of them start becoming, some of them do that. They become versatile, like doing music and shit, which is kind of good or whatever to do with their money. I guess trying to like invest it into something, positive. But there's other ways to making money that's positive, like drop shipping and, you doing stocks and stuff like that. But Jake be just doing the wicked ways, like scriptures say that they're in Jeremiah the 5th chapter that they surpass the deeds of the wicked. That how Jake get more wicked than the heathen. I'm talking about these niggas stole $2 million. I was surprised on the train station. I even said like, wow, in a decent voice. I was like, what? I said, wow. And you don't hear me saying that like that, so that shit is crazy. I'm telling you, man. Most High ain't playing. Yeah. And the first thing they got on their mind is when they arrest you, they trying to like make every money off of you, for their precinct. That's the money they trying to make it for. Everything they do when they charge you and shit, they arrest you and shit and book you, fingerprint you and all that money is being made for the precinct. They just getting paid by the hour. The least they could do is get promoted, by doing all these bookings and shit and writing summons, writing tickets and all that shit. Yeah. That's how these cops are. They just in the rat race. So they're not getting paid by the person that's being booked. And that's the CEO of the company that's within law enforcement. So if they own the jail facility, they're getting paid for each person getting booked and shit like that. Each person, because it's like a business, The cops gotta find somebody that, and they trying to find the easiest criminals, and the easiest criminals are honestly the scammers, low key. You shouldn't even get into that shit, involved in that shit at all, because your information goes on online on the IP address. That shit gets traced back. And I feel like even if you have a VPN, eventually somewhere down the line you're gonna get caught. And they did that shit. He did that shit too much. Like, that's why some people say they do that shit. They stay off it for a few months and they go right back to it. So it's crazy, man. But like I said, judgment be happening anytime, anywhere, anyhow. The Most High set it up. He got angels out there pretty much doing his will, and he's in the heavens, the Heavenly Father, calling the shots on judgments to be taking place at everyone, at their given times. But with that, I hope I made that lesson edifying. Let's give all glory, praise, and honor to Adonai. How about Shem Shamalak, Al Shabbat, Shem Kakadash, to honor to the apostles and the elders, great millstone, peace, citation, hope for elect. Yahweh Shem Shabbat, Babak Shah, Shalak Rayam, Adawanyam, Boa, Goayam, Boa, Ababa Boa, Shalom.